But when I look at this team right now, I won't say that you have outstanding players like maybe you had before. You know, you don't have one individual, but you got a group of, I would say, very hardworking and a very tough to beat. And you know, you look at the likes of the captain, you know, Asnawi, right?
Yeah. Timnas Indonesia berhasil melenggang ke final AFF 2020 dan bersiap melawan Thailand. Perjuangan tim Garuda menuju partai puncak tak mulus karena harus melewati jalan terjal melawan Singapura. Untuk membahas hal itu, saya sudah terhubung dengan teman saya yang betul-betul mempunyai banyak pengalaman, tidak hanya sebagai pandit, tetapi juga langsung di lapangan. Saya sambut langsung, saya perkenalkan, hai bro Sasikumar.
Hey, hi bro, how are you? It's been a long time, huh? How are you?
It's been a long time. Yeah, I'm good. I think it's like against pandemic, a lot of reasons, but we just it's like need to do a lot of things, right?
Yeah, it's great to be here to, of course, talk about football. I'm sure we'll be discussing AFF, which is a hot topic at the moment, and you guys done well to beat us. So I'm sure we'll be discussing that.
So, but before that, I think it's like you had a lot of experience life after football, the career after football. I mean, it's like it will be interesting. So, can you explain us also? It's like a bit about your experience with business things, bro.
Yeah. So, as I think many of your viewers will probably know and heard maybe my name playing for Singapore national team for quite a few years. And I retired when I was 29. I decided that I want to pursue a career outside of professional football. And after I felt that I kind of achieved what I wanted to achieve to my level in Singapore and in Southeast Asia, I thought, okay, just maybe not time to look at something else. And I never wanted to really be a coach, because being a coach is big sacrifice, like being a footballer, right? Because in fact, I think as a footballer, you can tend to switch off, but as a coach, you cannot. You must be 24/7 like a coach, live, eat, breathe, think about your players, think about your opponents. So I wasn't really ready for that. Even though I tried to coach at different levels, I didn't really enjoy it. I think I wanted to do something outside of the field. And that's where I went into sports marketing. I start to think about, okay, what can I do in sports? I started as a football agent because that's something that I was familiar with. A lot of my colleagues, a lot of my teammates all became managers, coaches. So it was easy for me to approach them, take a different approach than most agents, because as you know, the world of football agents are very, very different, very strange, can be very dirty. So I wanted to be the guy that did things properly. But unfortunately, I think over the years, I felt that business requires a different mindset. So I built a company called Red Card, and wanted to get into the world of sports marketing, where I can bring my expertise as a former player, I think, and also mix it with the world of sports. So talking to different clients, I also brought a domain expertise as a footballer. But also at the same time, I went to school. I finished my degree and my master's in sports management. So I thought I can bring the business acumen. But it's been almost 16, 17 years now. In 2005, I started the company after I came back from Australia. We're still here. Pandemic, unfortunately, slowed down our growth. The last 3-4 years has been very, very busy and very slow. I think it's not just for me. I think the whole world is experiencing it. So also gave us a time to regroup and reassess what our business model should be for the next 10 years, which then led me to do my own radio show. I run my own radio show in the local channel in Asia, which ironically ended on last Sunday. That was my last show.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I'm also looking forward to a new chapter, because I will be moving to Spain with my family in February. So I'll be doing that. So I'm looking to work in European football. I'm looking to be the bridge between Europe and Asia, because I think that's a lot of clubs, a lot of brands are looking towards Southeast Asia. So hopefully I can be the value adder, and hopefully I can be the bridge from being based in Spain to Southeast Asia.
Wow, that's good to hear, bro. Yeah. Good luck for it. I think it's like a very interesting also to explore after this. So, bro, let's start it with the question related with the AFF. I think yesterday's Indonesia versus Singapore match might be said to be among the best matches in the history of AFF tournament. How do you see the semifinals of Indonesia versus Singapore, bro?
I must say that I was very surprised when I first looked at the Indonesian team in their group. I felt that they were young side, very, very young, not a lot of experience. In fact, I think Indonesia is the youngest team in the whole tournament, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And I looked at the team and, well, yeah, there are a couple of good players there, but maybe not enough to trouble the rest of the teams. Then I watched the game against Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And when it finished 0-0, then I'm like, wow, okay, this team, we need to take notice of this team, right? Because if any teams can actually hold Vietnam, they must be worth something. And then against Malaysia was the big one. Yeah. I thought, once you really beat Malaysia very convincingly, then I thought, okay, this team is someone that every team should be taking care of. And surprisingly enough, we as Singapore were expecting to play Vietnam, right? Because of the group. And all of a sudden we hear that Indonesia scoring their final goal allowed Indonesia to finish top of the group, which means that we will face them. And I'll be very, very honest. If we had a choice to play Indonesia or Vietnam, I would say Indonesia.
Wow. Why?
Yeah, we purely because I think if you give the biggest scheme of things, because I felt that Indonesia being young, they have not won anything, right? This team has not won anything. And this team is probably inexperienced at that level. And but if you look at Vietnam has won things, right? And they've been together for a while. They've done really well in AFC competitions and stuff like that. And the opponents they have played, they just come out of the World Cup qualifiers where they are playing against China, Australia, and all the other teams. So they probably will have a bigger experience. So given these two things, then I thought, okay, maybe if we played Indonesia, we have a better chance. Okay. And then coming into this competition, I think the first leg was very interesting. Indonesia, I think in the first 45 minutes played Singapore out of the park. I think the first 45 minutes was something else. And then the second 45 minutes, the coach made a change, I think, which then made a difference to me in my opinion. But the second leg was probably the best game of football I've seen in a long, long time, especially from Singapore, because as a former player, playing with 10 against 11 is already hard.
Yes,
at this level. Course. And then playing 9 against a very, very hard running and a very tough tackling Indonesian team, I thought it was going to be 4-5-0 finishing, right?
Yeah.
But I think credit to the Singapore boys because they showed a lot of spirit, even taking the lead and even having that penalty in the last minute, literally last kick of the game.
Yeah.
I thought it was, even in Singapore, I think a lot of people are proud of this team, something that we haven't been able to say in the last 10 years, if I'm being honest. People are not proud of the Singapore team, but after their performance against Indonesia, thanks to you guys, people are starting to believe in Singapore football.
Okay. So what is the difference between the strength of the Singapore and maybe Indonesia national team now and before, bro?
So I think, during the time that whenever we played with Indonesia, I remember 1997 playing at the Gelora Bung Karno Stadium, the SEA Games semifinals.
Okay.
That was Fandi Ahmad's last national team assignment, right? And then after that, he retired. That was unbelievable. We're playing away, playing in the GBK, which is 100 over 1,000 people. It was amazing, electrifying atmosphere. And, of course, you had some really talented players. I'm talking about maybe some best players in Southeast Asia. It was a different experience. But when I look at this team right now, I won't say that you have outstanding players like maybe you had before. You don't have one individual, but you got a group of, I would say, very hardworking and very tough to beat. And you look at the likes of the captain, Asnawi, right?
Yeah.
And you look at what's his name is the other guy. I'm forgetting his name now. But Ezra Walian is another one that's I thought when he came on, he did really well. He scored the goal right against Singapore. Yeah. So Witan is the other one, right?
Yeah. Witan Sulaiman. Yeah,
Witan Sulaiman. So and then you look at the goalkeeper. So you got like 3 or 4 outstanding players. And then you got others who you look at the defender, number 13, I don't know what's his name, Fakhruddin, right?
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, he's very old school. He reminds me of the old school Indonesian defenders, like no nonsense. He just kicks the players, keeps it simple. So I think there was a very, very nice balance. I think as much as I'm a Singaporean and I really like to see Singapore go into the final, given the bigger scheme of things, I think Indonesia really deserves to be in the final.
Wow. Some compliments from you.
Yeah.
And now I think it's like the combination of senior and junior players in the Singapore national team produce a slick game and threaten the opponent during the tournament. I think some Singapore players also now popular in Indonesia. I will ask your comment about this player because a lot of, it's like news related in the social media. The first one, I think the amazing game from the goalkeeper, Hassan Suni. Any comments for him?
Yeah, he's always been an amazing goalkeeper. I must say that I'm a big fan of Hassan. Hassan has spent quite a few years in Thailand playing in the Thai League for Army. Hassan, I must tell you that I know his former goalkeeper trainer. He was on the brink of signing for Leicester City. Okay. Wow. Yeah, he was on the brink of signing for Leicester City. Wow. But the problem that he had was his visa issue because from Singapore, you cannot go directly to England to play because of the legal issues. So actually the Leicester City sister club is the Army United in Thailand. So what they wanted to do is to see him and see his level in Army and then take him to maybe somewhere in Belgium and then eventually end up in Leicester City, because I think he's capable of playing at a very, very high level. But it was not meant for him. I think his team got relegated that season or something like that. And then he spent a lot of time. Now he's back with the Lion City Sailors in Singapore. Actually, at the start of the season, I would say the first 4 or 5 games, or maybe up to maybe 10 games, he was horrible. He was going through a rough patch. A lot of people questioned his motivation. A lot of people questioned his standards. But then I think there was a sudden switch. I think he switched his goalkeeper trainer as well, and then he, by right, should have been the player of the year this season in the Singapore Premier League. I was not surprised that the coach actually picked him as a first choice. He's been outstanding. He's 36, if I'm not wrong. And you and I know, bro, that the goalkeepers, they are like a good wine, the older, the better, right? Yeah. So Hassan, I'll be very surprised if no club in the region comes in for him. But having said that, he's at one of the most richest club in Southeast Asia at the moment, the Lion City Sailors. I don't think so. They'll be playing the Asian Champions League. They've got a really, really good coach, top Korean coach here. Kim Do-hoon, who rates him very highly, and the club rate him very highly. I think he's got a multiple-year contract, so to break the contract and take him anywhere will cost a lot of money. But you're right. I think you're spot on with picking a player who's been outstanding this whole tournament.
Yeah, and of course I will ask also. Is like this player because we have a very deep relationship with Indonesia also, namely the 3 sons of Fandi Ahmad. Irfan, Iksan, and Ilhan. What do you think? Maybe you can tell the stories also about these players, bro.
Yeah, as you know, when many years ago, I actually managed Irfan and Iksan. Right, they were part of our agency, and we were managing them as young boys. They traveled with me to many countries, to Italy, to Spain, where they spent a lot of their young years. I must say that at when 8 and 10 years old, Iksan was probably, I would say, one of the best players in the world. If you look at him play when he was much younger, he's an amazing player. Irfan as well. Irfan was a striker, then was eventually converted to playing as a defender. And he's been playing with the Thai Bangkok Glass in Thailand in the T League, and has won the Thai League, becoming the first Singaporean to win the Thai League as well. And he's been linked with Jeonbuk Motors in the K League. They've made an offer, and Bangkok Glass has put a 1.3 million USD as a transfer fee for him. And there's some rumors that he actually might make the transfer to Jeonbuk Motors. As you know, Jeonbuk is one of the AFC Champions League winners. They have an ASEAN quota, so there's a lot of rumors that he might move. I was a little bit surprised that Iksan playing in Norway. His team just got promoted to Norway Division 1. And he decided to come to Asia to play in Bangkok Glass, and where his brother Irfan is playing. And I think also he's on a very, very big contract from what I understand. It's an excellent contract for 3 seasons. And then the little one is Ilhan. Ilhan is just still finding his way. He's actually in the squad of the AFF, but he's still, he's just finished national service. So he's one to look out for. He's definitely one in the future. So I won't be surprised if we see a centre back who's a Fandi, who's a number 10 who's a Fandi, and a number 9 who's Fandi. For the next couple of years until my sons, when they come through, they're still young, so they've got a few more years to come through.
Okay, now I think it's like a bit interesting because we believe that Indonesia learned from Singapore about naturalization player, but now Singapore national team has only one naturalized player. Does this mean that Singapore football development, especially for the young players, as it's like developing as expected?
Yeah, so I think this is there's two parts to this question. I think for a long time, as you know, in the 90s when I was playing, the Singapore League is probably the best league in this region, right? All players, national team players, whether it's from Thailand or Australia or Iran or New Zealand, they all wanted to come and play in Singapore. Then the tide changed in the early 2000s where there was not much money. A lot of our players started to play outside the region, right? So they went to Malaysia, they went to Thailand. And with the ASEAN player quota, a lot more players went outside to play. What has happened is that in the last 3-4 years, we introduced this thing called the under-23 rule. So while I suppose the young players had more chance to play, but the quality of the league was was really suffering. So I think, obviously you see a few players coming through, and at this level of the AFF Suzuki Cup level, I think we are competitive. But if you just have to look at our World Cup qualifiers, we did very badly. We conceded many, many goals because we had too many young players. We don't have enough quality players. So what I really don't want to happen for Singapore football is just because we had a good run in the Suzuki Cup, we forget about all the other problems we had in the last 3, 4, 5 years, which happens, right? In Southeast Asian football, it always happens. Win the Suzuki Cup, all the problems have gone away. So I wish that what I really wish that is that we learn from our lesson here and we go from strength to strength, because right now, if you look at Singapore, we have one guy, the boss of Shopee, and Garina. He's invested. I mean, he's the richest man in Singapore. He's invested into a football club. They're building and they're doing many, many good things. So we need to leverage on that and make more billionaires to come into the game and own more clubs so that our football can actually grow. I think we also need to export a lot of our players. I think a lot of our players should be playing abroad. I'm just looking at Indonesia. Asnawi playing in the K2 has really helped, right? And Witan is playing in Slovenia, I believe, right? And then you got Poland, and Egi is also playing in somewhere in Poland or Slovenia, somewhere there, right? Yeah. So you see that and you have one more in Holland, right? You have one more player in Holland. Did he play?
The Kafi,
Kafi. So you have players all over the world, right? I think that's really helping Indonesian football. And you said earlier about the Garuda select. You got an entire team that's in England, so it is helping. And I think because Southeast Asian football, I mean, I call Indonesia, I call Singapore football. We're all about, our domestic league is about the same. Probably the one that's one step above is Thai league, right? They're the only one. The rest, all of us are almost thereabouts, even Vietnam. But I think our best players should play overseas, and then the younger ones should play in our domestic league to improve the standards. So I think when you look at that, it's no secret that we need to export a lot of players too.
Okay. Now I want it's like I want your comments about Indonesia. Indonesia has competed in 6 finals of the AFF Cup, but has never won, bro. What do you think is wrong with Indonesia?
So I think, unfortunately, I think, and I'm going to probably break a lot of hearts of Indonesian fans listening to this show, right? It will take a mini miracle for this Indonesia team to beat a very, very talented Thai team. Let's be honest. Especially over 2 legs. If you tell me it's a one-off game, miracles can happen, right?
Miracles can happen.
And always over 2 legs, it's about a team that's consistent and the team that has quality. That's always going to win. But I know a final is a toss-up, right? A final it's a final. It's a cup final. It's once in a lifetime opportunity for these boys, right? So to create history for Indonesia. So I will not write them off, but just going by the way that Thailand did the job against a very, very, very talented Vietnamese side yesterday. I think you saw the game too. The way they killed the game, the way they control the pace of the game, that's a sign of a championship team for me. Like, if you look at the number of real opportunities Vietnam had, you can count with the number of your fingers, right? And I'll be very honest, like it looked to me that Thailand didn't even get out of third gear, that like they were playing in third gear and they're good enough to pick up a draw. So unfortunately, I don't think Indonesia probably is ready to beat them, but we've seen stranger things happen in football. But coming back to your point of what's wrong with Indonesian football, I think having been involved in Indonesian football one way or the other for the last 20 years, I think the consistency, because you have a population that's crazy about football. There's no doubt about that. You probably have corporations that can put money into football. But I think it's the consistency, the league, the rules, all of that hasn't been consistent for over time, right?
Against a very strong team against Thailand, like you said, I think it's like, okay, we will need a lot of miracles. But which Indonesian player could be the key to success?
I like this Asnawi. I really like this Asnawi. I think he's a special player in the sense that even when Faris Ramli missed the penalty, he ran up there like some of in your face kind of thing, and a lot of people said, you shouldn't be doing this. I said, what do you mean? Like he should be doing it. Like it means a lot to them, right? It means something to him, right? He's
even in Indonesia, it's a big controversy with that photos, with that moment.
Yeah, so I'm on the side that it means a lot to them. They are playing, the stakes are very high. So go ahead and do it. Like, I mean, for me, it's like I don't think so. It's a bad thing. So Asnawi is going to be one key, but I think also where Indonesia I think can be a little bit light is up front. Ezra, Walian, or whoever's playing up front needs to do a bit more. But I like the look of Aggie when he came on. I think he's just come from Europe, and then that was his first game, right? He just started a couple of minutes. You already can see the quality is different. Like that's one run he made into the box, almost created a goal. So I think if you can get the likes of Aggie and Witan and I suppose Asnawi, I think you have a really good chance. You got a very good goalkeeper as well. I think he doesn't give too much away.
Nadio,
and because in the past Indonesian goalkeepers always been suspect, but this guy is steady. He's a steady pair of hands. So cup final is a cup final. I maintain again, don't write Indonesia off, but the very fact that it's a two-legged event, I always feel the best team wins over a two-leg event.
So I think it's like this is the last question. Indonesia will face Thailand in the AFF final. What is your prediction, bro?
Yeah, I think again I'll come back. If you told me it's a one-legged thing, it's a one-off game, I still give Indonesia a good chance. I think Indonesia has a very good chance to win. Unfortunately, because it's a two-legged, the better team always wins over two legs, right? I mean, we've seen in the Champions League, we've seen in everything. So they can have a bad day, but when you have the likes of Tirasil, when you have the likes of Chanatip, these players won't have two bad games. Let's put it that way, right? It's impossible for them to have two bad games consecutively. But if the Indonesian boys, it's like I go back to 1998 when we won the Tiger Cup in Hanoi, right? And everybody was saying that Vietnam was going to win. We won, right? So I hope that Indonesia feels that when everybody's talking about Thailand, they pop up and they say, you know what, 1-0 in the second, in the first, 0-0 in the first leg, and 1-0 in the second leg towards the end. 99 minutes, you get 89 minutes, you get a penalty and you finish off the game. So who knows?
All right, Sasi, thank you very much. This has been very interesting. It's always talking with you, and now I think discuss with related with our passion, also football and sports. And thank you very much.
No, thanks for your time, and I want to wish all the Indonesian fans and everybody watching this enjoy the final, and I wish you guys the very best. And also thank you for having me on the show. It's very nice talking to you about my journey as a footballer, and of course as a football entrepreneur, and now whatever I'm doing with my life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hopefully before you're leaving to Spain, maybe you will visit Jakarta someday and you'll be in our studio.
Yeah, I miss it. I miss Jakarta. It's been 3 years since I got to Jakarta, so hopefully the pandemic's over, that I can come and visit Jakarta.
That's already too long for you.
I know.
All right, mates. Good luck again for your all things related with your life and business and Happy New Year.
Yeah, same to you. Thanks, Dika.
Thank you. All the best, bro.